Here we are. You wanted Dean's route to continue, and that's what we're going to do in this episode of Password. So let's load up where we left off last time. To day 6. I was in that state of consciousness that was somewhere between sleeping and being awake. God knows how early it was. I would have rolled over to check my phone, but I was that out of it still. I buried my head into my pillow to try and get some more sleep. Something was nagging at me, and the more I thought about it, the more I noticed the pit in my stomach growing. After tossing and turning, I made my way down to the vault. Combined with the gut feeling I had, something was drawing me to the keypad next to the door. Upon hitting enter, what I entered was wiped away, accompanied by an angry beep. So much for that. Upon hitting enter, what I entered again was wiped away, accompanied by an angry beep. So much for that one. It was too early for this, so I decided to head back to my room and prepare for breakfast. By the time we'd all assembled in the dining room, Orlando went into the kitchen only to bring us out breakfast. You know, you really don't have to cater for us. Oh, I know, but it's fun. I promise this won't last the whole month. Although I do wonder if people are going to be upset if they have to settle for cereal and toast. Orlando slunk back into the kitchen, presumably to grab more things for breakfast. So, anyone doing anything interesting today? Thinking about trying the gym downstairs, something different. Did you need someone to spot you? I wasn't expecting you to offer something like that. You can get crushed and hurt yourself for all I care then. Okay. Hey, sorry. I'll be glad for the assist. I just wasn't expecting it. I'll probably go for a swim and then maybe head into the forest. Oh, I think I want to go for a swim. It'd be nice to check out the hot tub too. I think I'm going to spend today in the kitchen. What, again? Well, yeah, true, I know, but... I wanted to learn. You don't know how to cook, Sal? Well, yes, but nothing fancy. He told me about the last time he tried to make something fancy and... well, it was a story to be sure. Seemed like everyone had plans for the day, and here I was with nothing really grabbing me. Why don't you join Dean and I, Dave? What, at the pool? Yeah, who knows, could even check out the hot tub later too. I could probably go for taking a dip in there too. Although I really just want to wade around in the water given the weather seems nice. Well, alright, I guess I'll join you guys today then. We pretty much set out right away, telling the guys we reconvene at lunch. Pool, yay! The sun was out and it was pleasantly warm. How often do you get to have a pool in your backyard, Dave? Never. How could you not be excited, Dave? It's a pool. Careful, or you'll start to sound like Dean with a hot tub. Hey now, it's a hot tub. In fact, I'm going to go to the hot tub right now. Okay. Well, I'm going to see if I remember how to swim. You don't know if you remember? Hey, it's been a while. I figure it's like riding a bike, right? Well, maybe stick to the shallow end until you're certain you remember. Roswell eased into the pool and began to paddle in place, though I could see he still had his feet firmly on the bottom of the pool. Who should I check in on? It's Dean's route. Leaving Roswell to get reacquainted with the pool, I wandered over to Dean, who was fiddling with the controls off to the side. What happened to get into the hot tub? Hey, cut me some slack, I only just got over here. Despite turning back to the controls, he seemed to be hesitating switching them on. Struggling to turn it on, or seemed to be working fine last night. That's not it. Just trying to figure out what temperature I wanted at. Obviously hot is best, but maybe that's overkill given it's already sunny. But if you're going to join me, why not you pick? Dean then came in close, shooting Roswell a cautious look before returning his attention to me. And if you want, we can make out a little when Roswell's not looking. I glanced over to where Roswell was, who seemed content just splashing around for the time being, seemingly lost in his own thoughts. Well, I figured that with Roswell preoccupied, there really wasn't any harm in taking a dip in the hot tub beforehand. Besides, if Dean figured he could get lucky in regards to getting a kiss, at least it was only a kiss he was suggesting. I slipped into the hot tub and sat back as the bubbles started. So, last night was pretty good, right? You mean the movie? Sure, the movie. Dean then came in real close, pressing his body against me. And then maybe everything that happened after? Or maybe just... In the next moment, Dean leaned in and kissed me tenderly, his hands hovering while the rest of his body quaked. As he backed off slowly, I held him in place. I wasn't sure if it was out of shock or not, but I held him firm by the fur around his neck. "Oh, Dave, I'm sorry." I cut him off, kissing him back. Hard. It wasn't a long kiss by any means. We backed off in a stupor to his side of the hot tub after, dazed. Wow. The silence lingered between us for a moment before I smiled at him. "Was it everything you ever hoped for?" Oh, better. Absolutely better than I had imagined. Although I take this as an invitation to kiss you whenever I want now. We weren't sitting in the tub for all that long before Roswell came over to see what we were doing, before jumping in himself. The three of us sat in relative silence, enjoying the heat and the bubbles. "Oh, that's right. Did either of you have an interest in magic?" "What, like wizards or like Vegas?" "Well, more like Vegas, I'd think. Although if you're a wizard, Dean, you better share your magic secrets." "Well, I do know a few tricks, but I don't think that can constitute magic given the wand I use." "Wait, you have a wand? Moving on! Did you pick up a few more tricks since the last time, Roswell?" "Well, kinda. Although more importantly, I wanted to know if either of you would be interested in being my assistant." "Assistant? I don't think I'm svelte enough to pull off those skimpy costumes. Well, that's all on Dave." "Hey now, we don't know if we need to wear a costume." "We don't have to wear a costume, do we?" No. I was just wondering, because it turns out all the neat traditional tricks are better done with an assistant. I wanted to give them a try." "What, like sawing someone in half?" "Exactly." "Well, count me out then. I don't want to get sawn in half." "Well, you're a killjoy." The three of us talked until it was time for lunch, each of us heading back inside to get changed before heading down to the dining room. We somehow all ended up back in the kitchen, eating leftover pizza from the night before. "Pizza's still good?" "Of course it's good, I made it." "I guess you do have your uses after all." "Who do you think's been making breakfast?" "Benson, right?" "Orlando, obviously." "Yeah, I don't think Benson's had much to do at all, really." "So, can he actually cook or not?" You'd have to think so, right? Means Orlando could take a break." "Hey, I'm here, you know, and I like cooking." Yeah, we know. Just don't want you overdoing it." When we'd eaten our fill, we each started to branch off for the afternoon. "Oh, Dave." "Huh?" Before I had a chance to get anything else out, I was picked up by the midsection and squeezed in a tight hug. "Whoa! Gotcha." What happened next was a flurry of light kisses up my neck, with a firm one planted right on my mouth before being eased back down onto the floor. I couldn't help but giggle to myself a little bit, feeling my cheeks burn. Thankfully, Dean and I were the last ones here, lest I have to face embarrassment alongside the giddy feeling I was having. "Feeling all right there, handsome?" "Is this just how you're going to greet me from now on?" "Well, sure, why not? Unless it's a problem on your end. Can stop if you want. Figure that maybe you should wait until we're alone now." Probably a good idea for now, at least while we're testing the waters, right? Well, of course. Well, speaking of testing the waters, I want to go on a date. Whoa, is it finally happening? Well, maybe not in the original sense of what I was thinking, but I figure we can still do stuff together, alone. Well, what did you have in mind? Well, I was talking to Orlando over lunch and pitched the idea we could have stew maybe. Well, see if we could find any mushrooms out in the woods to add to it. Mushrooms, really? Hey, I'm not much of a hunter, so looking for some sort of game to use is out. Besides, the main appeal is that we'll be out there by ourselves. You know, all alone. I rolled my eyes at him, clearly not giving him the acknowledgement he was looking for to the prospect of having some privacy outdoors. Dean then came in close, whispering to my ear. And I guess if you wanted to fool around a bit while we have the privacy, that's an option too. Doing that, he just took that as an invitation to be blunt about it and ask up front, earning him a groan. Dean backed off and laughed heartily. It was hard to tell if he was genuine about the suggestion. I wanted to say he was, but with how he's also brushing it off confused me. Yeah, well, maybe if you're lucky. Well, let's head on over to the greenhouse and I can get a few bits and we'll head on out. I should be fine rest as is. We're not going to go all that far, I don't think. Well, at least I can guarantee we won't end up like Roswell did. Navigating in there shouldn't be too hard, I think. You think? Okay. I promise I won't get us lost. We'll be back before nightfall. Dean led the way out the back, heading towards the greenhouse. The weather looked alright, still sunny from before, but there were clouds on the horizon. Dark clouds. Well, looks like we might be getting rain tonight. Well, another good reason to be back before a bucket's down then, huh? Alright, hang tight. I'll get us a bucket or something to put stuff in. Or maybe a spade, you know, stuff that might help. Anything I can do to help? Oh, no, you're good. Just stand there and look handsome for me. Won't take too long. The flattery was nice, but it was starting to get a little uncomfortable. After all, should I be giving him compliments? A pet name? Was that something he even do as friends, just in case this didn't work out? Off to the side there was a small seedling, isolated from the others. The supposed suspect daffodil among other flowers. It still looked like an innocent enough sprout to me. Not that I'd know if it was supposed to look different than something presumably harmless. Almost ready? Yup, ready when you are. We headed around behind the greenhouse with Dean leading the way, not once breaking stride. I kept close, eyes darting upwards as the canopy above covered everything in shade. We walked for a little bit before Dean stopped suddenly, looking back to make sure I was still there. We're alone in the forest. As I reached out for his hand, Dean met me halfway, flashing me a smile and giving my hand a light squeeze. Come on, not much further. Well, I reckon here's a good place to start looking. Alright, what shall we be looking for? Oh, nothing specifically, just be careful though. If you find something, let me make sure it's safe first, yeah? Can't have you getting sick or getting the others sick by picking something deadly. Wait, there's mushrooms like that out here? Oh, I don't know for certain, but more than likely. Doesn't hurt to be careful though. How bad are we talking? Well, let's see. Some can just make you very sick, others will just kill. Not straight away, mind you, but eat one and you're toast. And I guess everything else you can either eat safely or will give you crazy hallucinations. Oh, I really hope you know what you're doing, Dean. Well, I have a pretty good idea of what to look for anyway. Or anything I'm not sure of, I just won't bring with us. You sure? What, you don't question Roswell going, but not sure about how well I go? I'll prove it. I think I can see something that might be worth checking out. Dean led the way a little further in before stopping, gesturing me closer to something growing near the base of a tree. Okay. Know what this is? I'm going to guess it's a mushroom. Okay, smarty pants. What type of mushroom? Maybe? I'm no good at mushrooms, I don't know. Well, I'll be honest, didn't think you'd get it, but yeah. That's a chanterelle. Okay, so it's a fancy mushroom. Neat. Dean wandered over to another tree nearby, checked something before gesturing me over. Chanterelle again? No, but that's okay. This is what I wanted to show you anyway. But it looks the same as the other one, doesn't it? Oh, mostly. There's a couple of ways to tell, at least during the day. What, you telling me these glow at night? Well, yeah, actually, these ones will. What we got here is a jack-o'-lantern. Looks identical to a chanterelle during the day, but at night they'll glow like a soft bluey green. Okay, so how can you tell them apart during the day? Well, the main way is they're underside. If the ridge is underneath, they're called gills. If they run parallel, no good, it's a jack-o'-lantern. And if they're all over the place, it's a chanterelle. Well, not quite, but sure, that works. Huh. Alright, I think that's easy enough to remember. Well, if you want to pick some of them for me, I can check them before we add them to the rest. There's a few other types around here, but if I find any that are interesting, I'll show you. Oh, sure, alright. But, you got me wondering. What, gonna take me up on my offer? No, not that. Just mushrooms. They're not like flowers, right? Oh, not really, no. Oh, why? Then how do you know how to tell these apart? Seems kind of like an odd thing to know offhand, all things considered. Dean's eyes darted the ground briefly, and he rested his hands on his hips, seemingly thinking his reply over. Well, truth is, I made the mistake once. We were visiting Gramps up in the mountains, and I just assumed I could eat whatever. It looked like the ones we'd had for dinner before, so I didn't think anything of it. Wait, so, which did you eat? The good or the bad? Given the panic, I'm guessing it was a jack-o'-lantern. I just remember getting real sick and needing to drink a lot of water and this funky black stuff, plus getting lectured by Mom about putting stuff in my mouth. There was a tense silence while I processed it. These thieves around someone who knew how to best deal with that sort of situation. Well, not that the lecture did much, mind you. Not that I keep Mom up to date on all the things I put in my mouth these days. All it took was that smile and wriggle of his eyebrows to make me laugh, followed up by a quick pat on the head before he turned and looked around. Dean wandered off to another spot and started looking around, almost disappearing behind the trees, leaving me to the mushrooms in the area. I turned to the mushrooms around and started to look them over, taking heed of Dean's instructions. Every second one I found seemed to be bad, and I moved on to the next, adding to the quickly increasing pile in my arms. It was nice out here, just closing my eyes and listening to everything going on in the forest. The rust of the leaves, the sound of Dean moving around nearby, humming to himself as he did whatever it was he was doing. Even from where we stood, there was a darkness that veiled everything beyond more trees, to the point where I didn't know which direction the mansion was in. But then something caught my eye a ways in. A blur of white disappearing behind a tree. I didn't quite catch what it was, but it seemed as though Dean didn't catch it from how he stood on his knees in the soil. I wandered off, mushrooms in my hands, towards whatever it was I saw. Hello? There was a slight echo as my voice bounced off the trees, but other than that there was silence. A chill went down my spine and I found myself filling the silence with nervous laughter. As much as I was self-conscious about my own laugh, as any hyena should, it was better than the void I was in. Anyone there? Still more silence, causing me to laugh just that little bit more. I began to shake, trying to look around to spot Dean and make my way back, but... oh no, how far did I even go? There was no point staying here, after all. If I kept moving, there was every likelihood that Dean would stumble across me anyway. Right? Dean? My voice echoed off the trees around me, and this time I heard the rustling of bushes somewhere in the distance, my voice having disturbed something or someone nearby. Dean, is that you? Silence. I was surrounded by it, and after a while I parked by the base of a tree, just listening, waiting for Dean to come find me. Dave, where are you? I must have fallen asleep, but I could have sworn I heard Dean's voice waking me up. Dean! Dean rounded the tree I was sitting under, a mix between distraught, furious and relieved. He dropped the basket of mushrooms he had and knelt before me, embracing me tightly. Why'd you wander off? I thought I'd lost you out here. There wasn't that usual raunchy side of Dean I'd come to expect, but something more primal. Sorry, I thought I saw something. Oh, don't do it again. He whacked me upside the head gently before hugging me again. Seriously, you had me worried for a moment. I hugged him back, but it was him who broke away first, retrieving his basket and looking to me. Oh, I see you found a couple of mushrooms. Yeah, what do you think? Dean took each mushroom off me in turn, double-checking them for either adding them to the pile straight away or giving them a sniff before throwing them in. Well, not bad. They're all fine, so you've done well to avoid the dangerous ones. Well, just as well. I only really know how to tell these apart and what a morale looks like. I guess I better grab Roswell if I want to search for anything else, huh? I guess so, yeah. I looked past Dean towards the darkness, wondering if the thing I saw originally was just a figment of my imagination or not. Are you okay? I know this is a poor excuse for a date, but... Oh yeah, I'm good, I think. Maybe just tired? You sure? Or positive, although I don't really know which way the mansion is. How far in are we, anyway? A little ways in for sure. In fact, it might be best to head back now. You can take these into Orlando, and maybe I'll go see if Roswell is doing anything and bring him out. Well, I think you're done for the day if I'm reading you right. Sorry, Dean. Yeah, I think I am. Oh, don't be sorry. I should be apologising this wasn't much of a date. There'll be another opportunity soon, promise. I'm going to hold you to that. Do I still get to reserve getting a good night kiss? I laughed, shaking my head at where his mind had gone, was enough to take the edge off. Sure, Dean, you can still get a good night kiss. Dean led the way back and handed off the basket to me while he went to the greenhouse to see if he had another one. Orlando, I bring mushrooms. Oh, mushrooms. Yeah, Dean and I went to the forest and he showed me how to pick, these. Oh, chanterelles, right? Well, they're pretty telling from their colour, no? Apparently they look like a dangerous one too. Jack-o'-lanterns. I looked over to Orlando, whose eyes darted up from the basket I was holding over to Roswell, not wanting to get any closer. These are all good ones, right? Did you want me to check? Dean checked them and said they were all fine, but it couldn't hurt though. Oh, and he said he was probably going to go back out there and wanted your expertise, Roswell. Me? Well, alright, but I don't want to spend another night out there. I wouldn't worry about that. Dean found me and led me back out, no problem, although I did sort of wander off. And that was reckless. But I guess you're safe, so that's all that matters. Right, well, let's have a look at these mushrooms and I'll go find Dean. In a flash, Roswell scrutinised everything that had been picked, going through and checking the undersides much like how Dean had told me to check. He even picked one out and peeled it, supposedly looking for something. Well, are they safe? Well, look good to me. I'd be willing to eat these. What a relief. Alright, I'll get to work figuring out what to do with them then. Shame you can't eat them raw, but a little rough if you react badly to them. Well, I'll leave you to it. Dean's probably outside, right? A greenhouse still, probably. If you head over there, you'll probably run into him. Alright, I'll see you guys later. We waved Roswell off before I caught Orlando looking at me funny. So, I'm not sure I like that look, or tone. You like him? Orlando nudged me before taking the mushrooms over the sink, pulling out a colander to start washing the mushrooms. Ooh, Roswell. No, not Roswell, Dave. Dean. Oh, I felt my cheeks start to heat up, and once more the nervous chuckling came out as I tried to think of a way to deflect Orlando's question. Unfortunately, he knew my tells all too well. I knew it, that's adorable. Well, hey now, it's not like that. Sure it isn't, you and him have been trying to get together for a while now. I was worried that ship was never going to come true. You've been shipping me and Dean? For how long? Oh, I ship you with a few people, really. You deserve someone nice, and it's just nice to see you have feelings towards someone else in such a pure way. Orlando, please. You're going to make my ears burn with stuff like that. If it makes you feel any better, I think Sal likes me back. Oh? Yeah, this morning went over great. Lots of casual touching, talked a bit about feelings, even came up behind me once and got real close, if you know what I'm saying. I don't think I do, and don't think I want to know. Oh yeah, so, I hate to be forward, but you've never done anything with another guy before, right? Well, that's a bit forward, Orlando. Dean rubbing off on you, or... Hardly. Just want to make sure that your first time is, I guess both memorable and enjoyable. I get the impression with how big a game Dean talks that he might be a bit more than you can handle. Only a hunch though. It's a thoughtful gesture, but I'm still reading from how out of the left field this was seeming. What did you have in mind? Oh, nothing major. Just if you need lube and stuff, just let me know and I'll make sure you have it before you get busy. Well, don't expect me to come asking anytime soon. I think I'm a ways off that still. I don't think he even knows that he'd be my first if we got there. Oh dear, A couple of times in the following silence, I caught Orlando moving to say something, perhaps offer an opinion or something, but he cut himself off, shaking his head and focusing on washing the mushrooms. In which case, all I can offer is the advice to take it slow. I don't think he'll mean to hurt you, but remember you always have the option of saying no, or stopping if it feels uncomfortable. And if he dares not to respect that, just let me know. I watched as Orlando's eyes flicked across the knife block nearby before returning to look me dead in the eye. Alright, I'll be sure to let you know. Good. For the rest of the afternoon I chilled with Orlando, watching him prepare these mushrooms. Didn't look like we were having stew anymore, but whatever Orlando was doing smelled delicious. So, no stew, right? I helped Orlando set the table. Supposedly Ben's had been scarce enough to not do it for us. Not that we really needed his help. Nope, there's leftover pizza still if people still want that. There's a few nice cuts of meat that, given the mushrooms, seem to be a good choice. I think Dean was looking forward to stew, although I'm not really sure. Well, he's just going to have to deal. That said, you guys got heaps of mushrooms, so maybe we can do stew tomorrow night. Did I hear someone say stew? We're back with mushrooms. Whoa, how many did you guys even get? Yeah, we sort of went overboard, sorry. What they brought in was another whole basket of white mushrooms, and from how big the basket was, well, there were a lot. What are these? Paddy straws, at least that's what Roswell reckons. Have to be careful though, look almost the same as death caps if you aren't careful. I'm guessing they're pretty bad. That doesn't begin to describe it. Eating one puts you on maybe a very painful 6-hour clock. They're pretty bad, Dave. Can't even cook them to make them edible. Their poison will transfer across to whatever they're in. I looked again at the basket Dean was carrying, suddenly wondering just how sure Roswell was at making sure they hadn't picked up even one death cap by mistake. I wouldn't worry, Dave. Death caps smell pretty distinct, almost like cleaning chemicals, so you'd be hard-pressed to miss one. I caught a glimpse of Dean flashing me a confident smile before I nodded to Roswell. Alright, if you say so. Despite all the mushrooms that Dean and Roswell had picked, all of them seemed to be staying in the kitchen as the chanterelles that Orlando had prepped ended up in a platter between us all, with not another in sight. I had Dean on one side and Tyson on the other, but the wolf seemed content to dig into his steak without paying anyone else any mind. Dean, on the other hand... have you had one of the mushrooms yet? Not yet, why? In one sweeping motion, Dean plucked one from the platter and held it towards my mouth. Come on, you'll like it. Promise. The fact he's using his bare hands to feed me felt a little odd. I must have been caught up in the moment as I found myself opening my mouth, looking down at the mushroom between Dean's digits. Oh, not too hot so it won't burn, I promise you that much. Not like it's going to kill you. Didn't even make it to my lips before Orlando batted his hand away, giving him a deadpan stare. Really? Hand feeding? Hey, I'm allowed, right, Dave? Before I could reply, Orlando huffed. He's capable of feeding himself, you know. Have some table manners, at least use a fork next time. As Dean was looking for his fork, I went and grabbed the mushroom for myself, skewering it with my own fork and shoving it into my mouth. What greeted me was not a taste I was expecting. It was buttery, rich, and almost fruity, somewhat like an apricot, but meaty at the same time. If there was some sort of apricot crossed with steak mix, this would be it. That's not what I was expecting. Oh, good, huh? It's different, I'll give it that. Dean shrugged and chowed down on the mushroom still in his hand, still missing his fork. Beyond that, there wasn't all that much to talk about, with Hoss being the one really leading the conversation insofar as checking in on everyone. Well, that's another day down. Sorry I sort of bailed on you after that first little bit. Nah, it's fine. After all, I think being out in the woods was doing something to me. Or at the very least, I probably couldn't have done a whole day out there. We'll work up to it maybe. See if we can find the river and do some fishing. Reckon it'll be a long walk? Probably. But you never know, could be closer than we think. Dean then came in close, the point I could still smell the gravy from dinner on his breath. Well, I know this is a long shot, but feeling up for sharing a bed tonight? What do you mean, like? Well, I mean, only if you want to. Just sharing a bed unless you say otherwise. Sharing a bed sounds nice. I mean, I want to shower before jumping into bed first. Want to shower together? Is what I'd normally ask, but I need a good clean too. Better I hand it solo rather than try and focus when I've got your handsome body in front of me. Tell you what though, I have something I need to take care of in the greenhouse before bed. So if you go have a shower, I'll check in on you when I'm done and see where we stand. Whatever you decide works for me. Alright, sure. Guess I'll see you in a bit. Dean headed off towards the back door, waving back before disappearing outside. As for me, I headed upstairs. As I got myself clean, I thought about what Dean had proposed. It wasn't that bad of an idea, right? After all, it wouldn't be any different to sharing a bed with Roswell during a sleepover. At least that's what I kept telling myself, a combination of the heat and the suds shifting my thoughts towards what it'd be like to have Dean in the shower with me. I caught my hands wandering, eyes closed tightly, just imagining what he'd do, what he'd say. But I realised that if I wanted to find out so badly, he'd be coming by anyway. Once changing to some fresh underwear, I began my wait. At some point I wondered what was keeping him. It had been near an hour with no sign of him. There's every chance that he'd gone to bed or had had his own shower rather than wait for me. Dean? I'd thrown on a pair of loose-fitting shorts and wandered over to his room, but I found the room unlocked, empty, and no sign that he'd been here since morning. Where is he? Where's who? Whoa, Roswell, where did you come from? Oh, sorry, did I startle you? It's... fine, I guess. Hey, have you seen Dean? Dean? Not since dinner, I think. He left with you, right? Well, that's when I last saw him too. Said he's going to come upstairs after doing something in the greenhouse. And he's probably still out there, right? Just don't stay out there too long without a shirt. You'll catch a cold. Almost as if on cue, Roswell started coughing, clutching his chest before breathing out a sigh. I can't shake my own cough. Don't end up like me, Dave. You sure you're going to be all right? I'll be fine. Just go make some more tea before turning in. Best of luck finding Dean. He'll be around somewhere for sure. I headed outside, parting ways with Roswell, and started towards the greenhouse. Should have thought to put shoes on. Yeah, I'll be fine. I took another step forward. As I took another step forward, I stepped in something slick, wet, and then immediately sighed out. Dean, you out here? As I got close to the greenhouse, I noticed the door was still open. A dark smear on the glass door. Dean? As soon as I stepped inside, there was a sudden smell that hit me full force. Hard to describe, but it was pungent and not overly pleasant. I could hear the wheeze of someone in here, a sharp intake of air like a gasp, for it sent shivers down my spine. Dave? Time seemed to come to a standstill as I held Dean's gaze. His eyes glazed over and unfocused. His front was covered in blood, and what I assumed was dinner at some point. What happened? I don't... Again, that rattling intake of air gave me chills, watching Dean struggle to keep his head up. Dean, what? I cradled his jaw, trying to get him to focus just long enough to answer. How can I help? What do you need? What happened? The precious seconds following ticked by with Dean saying nothing. staring back at me in a daze. I must have eaten something. I don't feel so good. He turned to the side, dry heaving, but nothing came up. Instead, blood mixed with drool pooled and leaked out the side of his mouth. I'll go get help. Hang in there, Dean. Oh, wait, don't. Please. His strength wasn't there to keep a hold on me, but I stopped all the same, paralysed in fear of what was happening. I don't. Please. I couldn't tell if he was crying, but his eyes were all over the place, reaching out for me to stay. Dean, you're not... Dave, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't... My breath caught in my chest, waiting for him to finish apologising. But it never came. Instead, all I got was a single, rattled exhale before the tension in Dean's shoulders left, and he sat there, limp. Dean? I waited a moment, staring at his vacant expression. Dean? Dean, hey! I shook him gently, but no response. His head just lolling limp to the side, chin bumping against his chest and arms slumped to the side. I was making noise for I was conscious of it, yelling in fear and panic, running for the door. I got to the back door, collapsing to my knees, clutching my head and just yelling in denial for what I'd just seen. His expression was burnt into my head, and no amount of pulling at my ears or yelling seemed to make the image fade. Dave, what's wrong? Wait, weren't you looking for... Roswell was by my side in a flash, arm over my back, but that lasted all of a second before I shoved him away, knocking him to the ground. Orlando, take care of Dave. I'm going to check the greenhouse. All right. Roswell wasn't gone long. And for all the yelling I was doing, it's no wonder the others had come outside too. And we've got no time to delay. We can still revive him. It's too late, and there's no safe way to do it either. I'm sorry, Sal. You can't save him. I have to try. No. If I had to guess based on what he looks like, he was poisoned. We can't risk you getting anything left over the 8 and losing you too. But how did he... When did he... At some point I'd started to cling to Orlando, him rubbing my back to try and calm me down. It'd have to be dinner, right? I felt Orlando tense up and I pulled away from him gently, searching his face for any sign he was the one that did it. It wasn't me, I swear. If it was me, then everyone else should have gotten sick too. Right? If it was Orlando, was there a way he could have done it? Before I could say anything to that point, Tyson pulled me away from Orlando. Yeah, then explain why you kept giving Dean looks during dinner, huh? What? Why were you watching Dean? I'm not allowed to look at Dean. Tyson seemed keen on singling out Orlando as the culprit, with Sal having to act as a meat shield and play mediator while Hoss got in contact with the police, or someone else on the phone. At some point I wandered back to the greenhouse. I think Roswell was following too, just to get away from the argument happening at the back door. Dean. As much as a mess as he was, I tried shaking him again, hoping he was just out of it, or asleep, but got nowhere. Dave, maybe you shouldn't. I stepped back, looking him over before shooting Roswell a look. You said poison, right? Yeah, it seemed obvious to me. I could tell by his hand. His hands looked fine to me, covered in blood and whatever else maybe, but you can't smell it? Smell what? The blood? Not that. Ammonia. Ammonia? I wouldn't worry, Dave. Death caps smell pretty distinct. Almost like cleaning chemicals, so you'd be hard-pressed to miss one. Death cap? Wait, what? That thing you said before about them having that smell. Was he killed with a death cap? That's what I was thinking, yeah. At least that's what it smelled like from his hands. Wait, but that'd mean the ate one himself? Something inside me suddenly felt heavy and rapidly sunk down to rest on my stomach to make me feel violently ill at the prospect. Suicide? It can't have been. But if he did eat one, or even multiple to speed up how fast it happened, when? When could have he eaten something like that? He seemed fine after dinner, but he said he was going to come up and check in on me. That's not something someone that would kill themselves would do, right? I pondered this question right up until the police arrived, feeling me away from being near Dean. So I wanted to find out what happened, both the who and the how. As belligerent as Tyson was being, throwing the blame towards Orlando, the police didn't place any of us under arrest until after we'd been questioned. But it seemed as though Orlando was still the prime suspect. The game was bittersweet. On one hand, it was reassuring that suicide seemed to be the least likely cause of death. But on the other hand, I wanted to believe Orlando didn't do it either. The funeral was hard. I didn't realise Dean's family was so large. He'd said he had a big family, but I didn't realise just how big it was. I'd met some of them before, but it was hard enough seeing his mother bawling for her son's coffin. Harder still was when she scooped me up and started babbling about how much Dean talked about me. Days turned into weeks, and I was at home sitting outside, mourning the gap Dean had left in me. It was hard to say just how much of it was because I was there in his final moments, as opposed to anything deeper than that. Hey, Dave. I almost jumped, not expecting anyone to address me. He looked to have stepped out of a fancy black car, a chauffeur in the driver's seat, and his father watched me with a steely scowl. Hey. I got up and went to walk towards Orlando, but he stayed firmly on the side of the gate, leaning on it, refusing to look me in the eye. Listen, I just wanted to come by and say goodbye. Oh, where are you going? Away. Proven innocent in trial, but... He let the comment hang there, and as soon as he made to look me in the eye, I averted my gaze, still uncertain. I thought so. You don't believe that I'm innocent, do you? I don't know, I shouted at first, shrinking into myself upon realising what I'd done. Well, I better go, I'm sorry. Goodbye, Dave. Take care of yourself. He was already in the car before I'd managed to get the latch on the gate open, and I stepped out onto the road behind the car to disappear down the street and out of sight. That was the last time I saw Orlando in person. Last I heard, he was working as a pastry chef on the other side of the country. A picture of him in front of a shop in a magazine I happened across a year or so later. So tell me again, while we're driving to the other side of the country? To go see Orlando. And you couldn't fly because... Because you offered to keep me company, and you said, fuck no, a road trip sounds more fun, you need some cheering up. For the next half hour, Tyson just grumbled in the seat next to me, keeping his eyes on the road. So, you sure okay enough for this? Huh? Look, I know I'm not the fucking brightest, but you've been moping outside your house more times I've walked by than I can count. I think so. I still miss him. I miss them both, really. And you couldn't just call the homo and say sorry over the phone? I need to do this in person, I think. We were friends for years, and I owe him that much. We drove the other side of the country for what seemed like weeks. It was hard to tell as Tyson kept detouring to go look at stuff. He was trying his best to distract me or make me feel better. At some stage he even stopped at a hardware store and got some cans of spray paint, saying if I needed to vandalise something to feel better, he'd be along for the ride. When we arrived, Tyson waited into the car, saying simply that he could just wait as long as I needed. It was late, no one else was in the store, and it looked like Orlando was just inside sweeping, preparing to close up. No sooner than I'd opened the door and the bell chimed, he turned to me. Oh, welcome, I'm about to... Oh. Hey. I'm about to close up, so you should probably leave. No, Orlando, wait, I want to apologise. You want to apologise? Now? You left me in the lurch, Dave. I remember how you looked at me. Do you know how that made me feel? I felt to have someone you thought of as your best friend think you killed someone. Do you even know what it's like to sit there in a defendant's chair with a jury deciding if you killed a mutual friend? Or what it's like to be in a holding cell? It's haunting. I was so scared. I shuffled uncomfortably in place as Orlando shook, holding tight to the broom he was propping himself up with. I felt abandoned. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Then why? Why did you think I did it? How could you think that poorly of me, Dave? You blamed me, whether you outrightly meant it or not, over a mushroom. I can't look at you right now. Get out. If you're still in town tomorrow afternoon, then maybe I'll be ready to talk more then, but I'm torn between hugging you from missing you and hitting you for how much you hurt me. Oh, yeah, okay. Sure. Orlando went back to sweeping, turning his back on me. From all I could make out, he was just waiting for me to leave. Tyson and I stuck around for another day, but much like the day before, Orlando shrugged me off. He wasn't ready, apologised and asked me to not come back. It hurt, but sometimes things just end up that way. So, I looked at Tyson as he's trying to find the words, eyes focused on the stretch of road before us. We don't have to go back if you don't want. What do you mean? Well, you still got me, yeah? Tyson pulled over, drummed his fingers on the wheel before leaning over and pulling me into an awkward hug. Anyway you want to go, I'll take you there. Just want you to be happy again, alright? Before I had a chance to get back, we were back on the road. We ended up back home at some point, long enough for me to get some more of my things, before we set off again across the country to find a place to move in together. By chance, I just happened to notice the letter stuck under the doormat at the front door. Who left this here? I picked up the letter. The only thing written on it was my name on the front in unassuming handwritten letters. Hey, you ready? Let's get going. Tyson was waving me over from the car, trying to get me to hurry up. Read the letter now? We need to. I shot Tyson a look and tore open the letter, scanning the contents. I'd gotten a lot of letters similar to this from Dean's family, hoping I was doing okay, much like I'd sent them. This one was addressed from someone else. Come on already, read it in the car. Wait. My eyes narrowed on the page as I read it over again. Dearest Dave, I am sorry for your loss. Losing Dean was painful, and the world is a darker place without him. And, regrettably, by the time you read this, I'm not sure how much longer I'll be around either. I'm sorry. I should have known better. I should have been more careful. There were mushrooms out there who were dangerous, and I should have stopped him. Dave, promise me that when I'm gone, you'll take nothing to chance. Be careful, but live your life to its fullest. Roswell. No sooner had I read the name than I pulled out my phone and tried calling Roswell. For all I got was the number was disconnected. Who are you calling? I tried again, but when I got the same message, I stared blankly at my phone, confused but bordering on angry. Roswell, here. I gave Tyson the letter and he read it, sighing out soon after. What did you want to do? Is there anything we can do? How long have you even been here? Tyson put an arm over my shoulder, checking his phone before putting it away and grinding a knuckle gently into my head. Come on, let's make tracks. As we drove off, I found myself thinking about everything that happened, how it could have happened, what Roswell said happened, and if there's any way I could have stopped it from happening. I don't think I'm ever going to eat mushrooms again. Huh? Just a single mushroom is all it took. A death cap. Right? I don't know, I try not to think about it. I'd rather just buy mushrooms from the store, I guess. Yeah. And so we drove off in search for a place where we could leave all this behind us. It's a lesser-known fact that narrators are not bound by linear time. What if is one of our strongest tools. And we can change things. We can give Dave what he was thinking about. If I ask the question, what if Dave had known the password that morning? I made my way down to the vault. Combined with the gut feeling I had, something was drawing me to the keypad next to the door. There was a moment's pause for the LED panel flashed vividly. Almost immediately I felt something grip my chest, a tightening sensation that made it hard to breathe. I could hear my heart beating hard and fast in my chest, as something like a memory flashed across the forefront of my mind. I gasped out of breath, and no sooner had I been given enough of a reprieve for air, the tightening came back full force.